Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is going to be a presentation from George Washington University, and I will let them take it from here. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Carol Conker. I'm with the Undergraduate Admissions Office at George Washington University, reporting from my home office. I cover a wide swath of the Southeast, and my area of North Carolina and South Carolina include just the tiny corners of Western North Carolina and the mountains, and the areas that hit Georgia, so the Greenville-Spartanburg area. And I'm going to pass the baton to my colleague who's here as well.
All right. Hi, so my name is Joshua Lowe, and I pretty much cover everything else that Carol doesn't cover. So all of North Carolina outside the mountains and all the low country PD and all that outside of what's kind of closest to like Georgia, Atlanta area. And I am bouncing back and forth between Virginia and the Greensboro area in North Carolina. So.
Great. So we're going to give you probably about a 20 to 25 minute talk about GW, but we're going to break it up so we can address your questions along the way. And Josh is going to handle the Q&A. So that's where you're going to put your questions. And I'm going to go off camera for a bit, mainly because I talk a lot with my hands, and I know that can be really distracting. So what we'll do is we'll probably pause after the kind of introductory, and we'll talk about our schools, and we'll do a section about campus life, and then we'll finish up with the application process. So 2 seconds away from getting rid of me, and we'll get started. Okay, so here you go. You can see our students descending the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. This is not a uncommon sight for our students, being the fact that we're right nestled in the heart of Washington, D.C. Our students have easy access to the National Mall. It truly is their backyard and a bit of their own little slice of a playground in D.C. D.C. is, of course, our nation's capital and a city rich with history, discoveries, and bold thinkers. And our neighbors include the White House, U.S. Capitol, U.S. State Department, National Institutes of Health is an easy subway right away, and we're walking distance to the Kennedy Center of Performing Arts. So here's kind of like I call the cartoon version of our neighborhood. So where you see our initials, that really shows you where our Foggy Bottom campus is located. And you can see these amazing resources. They're literally steps away from campus. DC really is an extension of your classroom experience where you get to have a real world experience through internships, through research, through connections to professional faculty members that are working in all these organizations that you want to be a part of. We're also easily accessible on the Eastern Seaboard. You can get to Baltimore, Philly, and New York very easily by Amtrak train, by bus, go all the way to Boston, you get there by plane. So it really does extend the network of opportunities that GW can provide. So we have 7 different undergraduate schools that make up the GW experience. And when you get to start with us, you get to tell us where your interests lie. We want to be able to read your application based on you, not how we think you should fit into the university. So we give you these 7 different undergraduate schools to choose from. And you come in with an intended major. We want to give you the time to explore because quite honestly, you're going to grow, you're going to change your mind. So you have until the end of your sophomore year to finally declare that major and minor. Our students do cross-school study between all the schools here. You can major and minor between them. And we have about 18% of our students who have decided to double major. Now I'm going to give you an overview of each of these schools so you kind of have a feel for the academic possibilities at GW. So the Columbia College of Arts and Sciences is the largest of all of our schools. More students come to GW to study within the liberal arts than any other discipline. So over 5,000 students are in the Columbia College. This is where you're going to find your social sciences, your political science, policy. You'll find world languages, maths and sciences. You'll find majors such as speech and hearing and human services and social justice. Within the Columbia College, you'll also find 2 smaller schools, the Corcoran School of the Arts and Design and the School of Media and Public Affairs. So those 2 schools are a part of the Columbia College. So if you're in those schools, you are actually duly enrolled in both your school plus the Columbia College. Now the Corcoran and the School of Media and Public Affairs have very specific application requirements, which I will talk about at the end of the process of the presentation when I talk about admissions. The next school on the list is the Elliott School of International Affairs. This is our most popular school for students to apply to at GW. The Elliott School has a great location. It's directly across the street from the Department of State, and it does afford students a unique opportunity. Again, those professors of practice coming over and teaching you, and you get to be exposed to the world that they're a part of. Now, foreign language skills is very important in the field of international affairs. You will graduate with fluency in a language other than your own, and you might even pick up another one and have working knowledge of another. So often in the application process, we're going to be looking at your academic profile and hoping to see that you've spent some time with a world language other than your home language. The next school on the list is the Milken Institute School of Public Health. And that's the smallest of all of our schools at GW. I know myself, I often wondered what public health professionals did. Now we know, thanks to our friend the pandemic. It is a very interesting intersection between public policy work and healthcare. Very excited to be able to tell you how involved our faculty have been in to help mitigate the virus and to be involved in the coronavirus task force as well as Reopen DC plan. So GW does have our own testing. We do have a hospital and a medical school at GW, and we're also a vaccine in the vaccine trials, and we're very proud to be able to attract Black and Hispanic adults to the vaccine trial. And we know how important that is. One of our other smaller schools is the School of Engineering and Applied Science. A lot of times people are like kind of surprised, GW has engineering. We've had it since the late 1800s. And what you're viewing here is the lobby area of the Science and Engineering Hall. It's a beautiful modern space. I love the living wall. You can actually peek into one of our lecture classes. While there's no students there, you can see that it's tiered seating. GW does not have a lot of lecture halls on our campus, so it's more common for you to have a small class experience than a larger one. And in our lecture halls, you can hear and see the professor from every seat. Last school on the list is our School of Business, and the School of Business has a wonderful proximity as well. It's down the street from K Street, which is a business corridor in Washington. It's also really interesting to study business in DC with the intersection between politics and business. And you'll also be able to do something outside of business because all of our business majors are required to have a minor outside the School of Business. So the liberal arts still exist within all of our schools at GW, whether you're in the Columbian College or not. Now let's talk, we can take a pause. Josh, are there any questions yet?
Yeah, so we do have a question about where do you declare your intended major, or where can you report it, or interest on the Common App. So pretty much when you are filling out your Common App, you will actually select the major you are intended or interested in studying. So that will be your intended major. But once you're on campus, you can always feel free to change that intended major, or once you declare your major, you can change it as well. You'll just have to talk to the academic advisor of that new major.
Perfect. All right, so I'm going to move on to campus life. So GW is a residential university, and you'll be guaranteed housing for the first 3 years. And then as a senior, you'll be able to choose to go on or off campus. So we have our main campus, which is called Foggy Bottom, and then we have our Mount Vernon campus. And so you will move between both of these campuses throughout your time at GW. You'll be taking classes on both. You'll eat and play, and you'll sleep wherever you are, wherever your residential hall experience is. So it's a full campus experience at GW. I like to describe Foggy Bottom as a human beehive of activity. It's always moving, always buzzing. 20 city blocks, 4x5, 5-minute bike ride to the National Mall, 10-minute walk, 4 blocks to the White House. And you'll also be seeing students milling about, as I said, moving between classes, dining with friends, going to or coming back from an internship, student organizations meeting or volunteering. It's about a 15-minute walk across campus. And along the way, you'll pass academic buildings, residential halls, more places to eat. And then a short distance off campus, you'll be able to get to business firms, public health agencies, and art galleries. You can hop on the Foggy Bottom Metro, which is a stop right on our campus, which is DC's very efficient subway system. It's the same line that will bring you to the airport or all the way up to Capitol Hill, and it connects you to the entirety of the city. DC is also a very easy walkable city, so you can easily get to the Georgetown neighborhood from campus, go shopping, find places to eat, head up to DuPont Circle, hop on the subway to explore other parts of DC or head off to that internship. Because we're more than just open city streets, we also offer you the opportunity to have your residential experience on the Mount Vernon campus. So it's located 2.5 miles away from Foggy Bottom, and it's connected by our full fleet of shuttle buses, which are called the Mount Vernon Campus Express, or our students have shortened that to the VEX. And you can follow the VEX on social media so you know if there's any delays along the way, but it's a pretty easy 10 to 15-minute ride. So about a third of our first year class lives on the Mount Vernon campus within the 6 different residential halls. And they are part of the living and learning communities on the Mount Vernon campus. And I'm going to talk about those at the end because it's more about the application process than right now for me to get into those details. Now, the Mount Vernon campus is a lot of green space. You got 25 acres. You'll find an all-you-care-to-eat dining hall. You'll even find white dove-tailed deer on the campus, which I think is just adorable that you can share that space with these adorable little deers. And if you do want to avoid lecture hall classes, you can do that by taking those same class on the Mount Vernon campus because they have smaller versions of what would be a normal lecture class on Foggy Bottom. Now, another things about the Mount Vernon campus, it's also home to our university writing program, which is a unique experience for all of our students. But for first year students, you'll take the course, you'll kick off the series of courses, either your fall or your spring term. And these are classes you wish you could take more than just one. They have really interesting topics to choose from, and they really do address what your interests are. I just pulled out a few samples like race, gender, and GW's history, the political brain, images, text, or happily ever after, writing about romantic comedy. So you can see it stretches the wide range of opportunity. So at GW, we have a uniquely student-driven approach to dining. It's an open dining model that gives you 105 different dining options daily, 55 of which are on the Foggy Bottom campus. And if you need some caffeine, you'll find 15 different coffee shops. And again, if you are super hungry, you have that all-you-care-to-eat option on the Mount Vernon campus. What our students love about this is that you can use the dining plan at restaurants, grocery stores, food trucks. It's even used with Grubhub, so food can come to you. And it also works off campus. So if you are exploring a neighborhood with your friends a new DC neighborhood with your friends on the weekends, or maybe you've gone up to the Library of Congress to do some research, or you're coming from an internship and you're hungry, just pull up the app on your phone and you'll be able to see based on a map where the G World card is accepted. So you can be on our plan when you're even off campus. Our students also love the fact that it allows to be used at a variety of grocery stores. There are several on our Foggy Bottom campus, including a Whole Foods market. And on Supermarket Sundays, they give special deals. And if you spend $40 worth of groceries, $10 of it goes back onto your G World card. And the type of groceries our students buy are like breakfast items, maybe sandwich making things, microwavable food for when you're hungry. And then they meet their friends at a variety of locations on and off campus. You can also get great meal deals. So the moral of this little story here is you will never go hungry on GW's plan. Now, student life is pretty robust at GW as well. And we have a lot of traditions. A lot of times people are surprised that a campus like GW would have Greek life, Division I athletics, and over 500 student organizations. And that also includes 100 different student organizations that are focused on community service. So at GW, you can really live your values by the many different organizations that we have. If you like competitive sports, but you're not a D1 athlete, you've got 50 plus club sports and intramural teams. We also have fitness complex on Foggy Bottom and our Mount Vernon campus. Our first year students are able to really get to know each other really well through a couple of great activities. I like to highlight the Welcome Day of Service, which is what the students are wearing. The green t-shirts are about. This is where all of our first year students go out around the city at 40 different service sites. And in the past academic year, our student body contributed to over 800,000 hours of community service. All of this is happening in the virtual space right now because GW is on a virtual semester. but they're not slowing down, and they're doing some really exciting projects right now. We also have Greek life. So if Greek life is something that you want to be a part of, that tradition does exist at GW. The soonest that you can rush, though, is after you've been at GW for 1 semester, or you could wait until the beginning of your first year, your second year at GW. It's regulated by the universities, so some of our housing options are available for Greeks. So it does allow for students to be involved, but not have to spend extra for housing. We also offer a program called District Connections, which is a DC GW immersion program, which allows our first year students to get to build community with themselves and friends, but also with students who are sophomores, juniors, seniors, or other staff members or faculty members. They'll take you on special little private trips, such as a Supreme Court tour, or a variety of festivals throughout the city, a ghost tour in historic Georgetown, or even to hear the National Symphony Orchestra performing to a Harry Potter movie. So I want to also emphasize that at GW, you get to do a lot with your degree, but also what you can do as a current student. We have wonderful internship opportunities, and this is your opportunity to really see your education in action, to see if it's the right fit for you, especially if you're still deciding what you want to major in. We do poll our students after graduation, and right now we're going to be working with our class of 2020, but our class of 2019, 92% of those students are employed or entered graduate school or went to a service organization. For instance, Peace Corps. We're #1 for Peace Corps volunteers for universities of our size, and we've held this for the past 3 years. And we also continue to be one of the top volunteer producing schools for the past 2 decades, and that includes organizations like Teach for America. So some of our students will use that as a path after they graduate versus going directly to the job market or onto graduate school. As a GW alumni, you'll find 90,000 alumni in DC alone. That's a great connection and resource for you, but you have almost 300,000 alumni worldwide. So Josh, are there any questions before I head into the application process?
No, there's no questions so far.
Okay, all right. Did I miss anything that you think I should emphasize?
No, you've covered everything. Okay. You talked about all the greatness that is being in DC. So yes. Okay,
good. All right. So I want to address these living and learning communities on the Mount Vernon campus. They all fit into the header of special programs. So these are all available to you within our application, and you can indicate which of the programs you're interested in. Now, of the special programs that are listed here, all of them are living and learning communities except for one. And the one that is not is our BAMD program. And I'm going to speak to that first. So our BAMD program is by far our most selective program that we have at GW. In any given year, we have somewhere between 800 to 1,000 applicants. And we're really looking for about 8 students. So it has a very, very, very competitive admission rate. This is for a program for a student who knows that they want to become a GW trained physician, and they want to do it in as quick time as possible. So all of the students who enter into the program will complete their undergraduate degree in 3 years, and then they'll enter into our medical school at the 4th year. Now, I want to emphasize to you that this is for a certain type of student. It's not for every student. We have a lot of other ways that a student can go on to medical school or any area of healthcare. So we have great 4-year pre-health advising. And we also offer another opportunity for students to get early entry into our medical school after they've enrolled at GW. So I'm going to turn now to the Mount Vernon Campus Scholars, and that does include Civic House. And Civic House is for students who are passionate about service work and they want to become groomed to become service leaders at GW. And they take a common service learning course together. GW has over 70 different service learning classes for you to choose from each semester. And we also include within Mount Vernon Campus Scholars our sustainability community and our global connections community. Sustainability focuses in on social equity and environmental well-being, and then global connections for students who want to explore or share their own global culture. The Politics and Values program is ideal for the student who has a passion for political theory and politics. These students all major across every discipline within the university, and they do take common courses together, and they have a faculty mentor with them. The oldest living and learning community that we have is our Women's Leadership Program. It's been a part of the Mount Vernon campus for over 25 years, and this program is for any student, no matter how they identify, who would like to uplift women's issues. And they cover 4 different cohort areas. So student, no matter your major, can enter the program for arts and cultures, or the one that's for US and international politics. We have one that has a business focus, and then we have our science, medicine, and technology focused program. So again, any major and any of those programs if you're interested. And then finally, we have our University Honors Program. While it is a 4-year program, in the first year, the students do live in community together on the Mount Vernon campus. And this is a program that includes roughly about 125 first-year students coming in, and it's for students who major across the university. It's not an honors college, it truly is a program, so all students are involved in other things besides just honors, but it's for that student who would like to pull in a more intensive intellectual experience on top of what else they're doing at GW. They do complete the 4-year program with either a thesis or a capstone project. Okay, so an overview of our admissions process at GW. So we just use the common application. So there's just one application for you to focus in on. And we use a holistic application review process. This means that pretty much the majority of what you submit to us is what we're looking at. We're going to be looking at your high school transcript and looking at the rigor of your curriculum and how well you performed. We'll be looking at your counselor recommendation and your teacher recommendation. And we're going to be reading your essays. If you're applying to the Corcoran School and you're applying to one of the BFA programs that requires a portfolio, you need to submit that artwork through the slide room application. And if you are interested in our School of Media and Public Affairs, be sure you go to the supplement to see what the essay requirements are for journalism or for the political communication major. Now, GW has been a test optional institution since 2015. This means that our entire application reviewing team, which includes me and Josh, are fully versed in how to evaluate an application with or without test scores. We do not ask you to apply by a special deadline or submit anything in lieu of the test scores. We truly honor your choice. You just indicate on the application. And no matter which of our application choices you make, whether it's a binding early decision round or our regular decision round, you can apply as a test optional student. GW does not have an early action program. So when students are applying early decision, we hope you've done some of your research, because that is a program that does require you to accept our offer of admission if everything comes together well for you. 2/3 of our students enter to GW through our regular decision plan. So do not feel pressure to apply early if it's not the right option for you. Every student, no matter if they submit test scores or not, or apply early or go with regular, are automatically considered for one of our merit scholarships. All you have to do is apply. There's no special deadline. There's no extra piece of the puzzle that you need to supply us. If you'd like to maximize the amount of funding that GW can provide, we recommend that you also apply for need-based aid. The only way that we can offer you more funding is through the FAFSA and the CSS profile, which are all part of our financial aid application process to GW. Now, if you are applying to the special programs, you will find that information within the supplement. And that includes the 2 essay prompts for the honors program and the essay prompt for the 7-year BAMD program. The 7-year BAMD program has a special deadline of November 15th. And for this year, it is also test optional. If there wasn't challenges with SAT or ACT or subject tests, those items would be required for BAMD. So if you happen to have them, you're welcome to submit them, but you do not have to submit them to be considered for the BAMD program. Now, if you are selected as a finalist for the program, because we choose about 25 students, those students will be interviewed virtually this year. And from that, we will make our selection. You'll be notified in January if you made the finalist standing, and then you'll be notified in March of what the final decision is on your application. So one of the last things we want to point out to you is that we have more to offer you in terms of your exploration of GW. So we want you to visit our Journey to GW page. We'll be able to provide that information for you. I think we could probably, Josh, can you drop a link into the Q&A? Maybe they can get it from there since we don't have a chat. Maybe that way they can get to that page. This is an opportunity for you to sign up for some of our events coming up. For instance, we have GW Day in October. It will be our virtual open house. And then in November, we have GW Classroom Week, which is an opportunity for you to try out GW's classes. But we also have a great podcast, GW Unfiltered. You'll find an opportunity to do a live chat with current students right from this website. So there's a lot going on the Journey to GW website. We want to make sure that you have a chance to visit it. And then finally, this is our general information. Josh and I will try to figure out how you can get our information, but you're welcome to write to gwadm@gwu.edu and ask for either of our email addresses, and somebody will be able to reply to you. Or you can get our information right from the Journey to GW page under Contact Us, and you'll be able to find both of our contact information there. But this is my favorite picture. This is graduation on the National Mall. We're the only university that does graduate its students in this amazing spot, looking up at the Washington Monument. And sadly, like all classes of 2020, didn't get any fun, but the class of 2021 has invited the class of 2022 to join them. And let's fingers crossed that it goes without a hitch and we can still gather together again. And it happens to be GW's 200th anniversary, so should be a good celebration. So I hope you enjoyed our little intro to GW and why our students say GW is the perfect blend of city, campus, and community. And I'm going to stop the share and see what else we can do question-wise. I'll come back.
All right, so we do have 2 questions that have came in.
Great.
One is about meal plan, and how does it work in comparison to the traditional college meal plan? Do you get a budget? Are there a certain number of meals or all that? So it is not like a traditional meal plan, as you don't have a certain amount of meals. You'll actually get a certain amount of money for the semester to use. So you don't have a budget per se, but as you're using that, you may want to be mindful of how much money you do have left for the year as you are buying your food and snacks throughout the year. And I'm going to go ahead and hopefully everyone can see that link that I posted. I posted a link to the meal plans as well as the link to the GW Journey page, GW Journey to GW page. Now the next question is, do you have do you have to specifically apply for other special programs like women's leadership and politics and values? So with that, there is a special program section on the Common App where you'll just indicate that you are interested in those programs. You won't have to do an additional essay. And as we are reviewing your application, we're also going to be reviewing your application to make for those particular programs. So you just have to indicate that you want to apply for them. There's nothing additional except for applying and submitting all that information. All right. And that was all the questions that came in so far.
Okay. If you don't have anything else, I think that we might be done.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, if there's no further questions, maybe we'll just hang tight for just maybe another minute or 2.
Sure.
But if not, then we'll be all set.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Josh, so is that one of the WebEx options? It's a very clear, good one.
No, so this is a Google option that I found. So this is campus.
Yeah.
I'm not on campus, but this is campus. This is how we would be looking right now.
It looks great.
This is Wright Colgan, so that is the library. I'm giving everyone a nice little mini tour of campus.
Right.
Also, just to let everyone know, because I've gotten some emails, if you do find yourself on campus right now, there's no one on campus to talk to you or give you a tour.
No.
We love that you've made it up there, but there's no one to do that. So we can definitely provide you with a self-guided tour map, so you can walk around campus and see all of the buildings.
Another good reason to go to the Journey to GW website, because that's where you're going to find all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I like how the fact that it actually shows fall leaves there. So good timing on your image choice. Awesome. Yeah.
All right. So we have another question. Are there any residence halls on the Foggy Bottom campus?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. There are residence halls on both Foggy and the Vern. So you really get to choose which one you would want to live on. Just be mindful, all special programs are pretty much housed on the Vern. So if you want to be part of a special program, you're automatically going to be on the Vern for at least a year, but you can live on either Foggy or the Vern. That's the short names: Foggy Bottom, Foggy, the Vern, Mount Vernon.
I think we have like 26 different residence halls. So the majority of our students do live on Foggy Bottom. So there's really, again, there's 1/3 of our first year class would live on the Mount Vernon campus. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to also remind you that if you wanted to apply to one of those special programs and you're not quite sure where you want to live, you absolutely can go through that process. And if you're offered admission, you can decline it and say, my heart is really on Foggy Bottom. No hard feelings at all. We don't want to force you to do something you don't want to do. But do keep in mind that if you really, really, really wanted to do the honors program or really wanted to do women's leadership, it is tied to the Mount Vernon campus.
All right. So the next question is, what are your favorite places to eat on campus?
Oh, you probably have more than I do.
So yes, I do, because I love to eat. I'm a skinny fatty. So my favorite food truck is Swizzler. It's a hot dog food truck. I love when they're out there. I also love the pasta food truck, but not as much as Swizzler. My go-to meal when I don't want to do too much walking is Panera, just because it's right there in Marvin Center.
Right.
And my go-to breakfast is hospital breakfast.
Oh yeah, that's what the deal is, right? The hospital, right? Because the hospital cafeteria is right there in the front door.
Mm-hmm. So right off, as soon as you get off the metro, it's right there. There's pancakes for like 75 cents, as big as your head. That's my go-to.
They also have good grilled cheese sandwiches. I like Roti because I really like Mediterranean food, and they have a really great options there. And the other good thing about Panera, when the weather's not so great, you're just indoors, and and also within the our student center, which is where our office is and where Panera is located, they have this big, beautiful open space called the living room, so you can really relax with your friends there. Yeah.
The next question is, what makes GW special?
Ooh.
Do you want to take that one first?
Sure. Well, I might steal yours. I think the student body. What I really admire most, and I've been with the university a long time, 21 years, and I can say consistently this has stayed the same. They're very involved. They're very vocal. They want change to happen. They care deeply for each other. Like I'm very impressed right now with, I think it's 15 buildings that are being considered for renaming right now. Isn't that the number? About 15? Yeah. And the research was done all by our students, and they did not phone it in. I mean, I just think the students are amazing, but they also are just really fun. We have great students who work for us. We have great students who do tours. They're very passionate about the university for sure.
Yes. So yes, we have amazing students. On top of that, where we're located, right there in DC. So I always joke with some of my colleagues who also work in DC. We are the ones who are right there. Like you can be right off Pennsylvania Avenue, walk to the White House, or take the metro. It is really great because then our students are getting so involved because it's everything is so close to them.
Yeah, a lot of times students think that, they're thinking about all the colleges and universities in DC. but in their head, they have GW the whole time because I think everybody is located where we are. And they'll go tour the other schools and they're like, yeah, this is really pretty, but where's the city? And then they come to us and they're like, ah. But there's also this real strong sense of campus. Even when you're on Foggy Bottom, without being enclosed in any direction, you definitely feel that you're on a campus based on everybody walking around with GW clothing on, or just the energy of the campus environment. So.
And then what is school spirit like when it comes to sports?
I feel like that's a segment of the student population. There's some students that are totally into it. They were like that in high school. It really does define their school experience, and they come out to everything. They come out to soccer, they come out to gymnastics, they come out to volleyball, they're there for basketball, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yes, because I think last year there was like a group of students who traveled with our volleyball team, I think. So like it is something that if that is something you want to do or be a part of, you can. Some students aren't sports inclined, so it's definitely kind of up to you. Now we have two more questions kind of come in. One was, does GW have any partnerships with government agencies in internships?
Mm-hmm. So what I would say is one of the things that we have is, it's pretty easy to use, is our internship search tool on our Career Center website. And I just actually did a search for a student, especially for the student was interested in political science. 350 plus organizations came up where our students have interned. So there's lots of options. So.
Then one, if I came to campus, would the campus store be open? And when will campus one-on-one visits begin? So all the campus is closed. Me and Carol are not allowed on campus. So you're not allowed on campus and we work there and aren't allowed on campus. When will campus open? When we are, we will definitely let you know, and you will get an email saying we're open for campus visits again. But right now, campus is closed.
Yep, that's why we have great virtual options. So I'm going to type in the answer regarding the internships. Hopefully that, I'm just gonna, let me see if I can find the question. Internship, partnerships, government organizations, here we go. So here it is for everybody, so you can give it a go. It's a great way to learn more about the internship opportunities at GW.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have like maybe 5 or so more minutes before they're gonna kick us out of here. So any wrap-up questions that anybody has? Well, we appreciate you all being here, and look for, oh, we've got something popped up.
Yeah, so how is it coming to GW from an early college as a first-year student with credit?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So we treat you just like a first-year student with credit. So there's times where you, some of your classmates may have to take a class that you've already taken because you do have that credit, but we still give you all the benefits of being a first-year student. So I know some of the early colleges in North Carolina, some of you may be going to get that full associate's degree. If you're coming with that, that's great. But in our eyes, you're still a first-year student because this is your first time really being on our college campus. So we want to make sure you have those benefits of that, as well as gain access to those first-year scholarships and such.
And you'll also get the credits that you've earned. The difference is that depending on what your major is, the courses you've already taken may not apply to the major at GW. So you may end eventually graduate. You might be able to graduate early, or you may graduate with like the double major, or you might be able to graduate with more credits than a normal bachelor's degree.
Mm-hmm. Then how do we get more involved before applying?
Do you mean involved in what we offer? Can you clarify for us? Or do you mean how to make your application stand out?
Mm-hmm. They may be talking about demonstrated interest too.
Oh, okay.
So
you want to tackle that one?
Yeah, so we don't, like, if you're interested in GW, just submit your application. We don't track demonstrated interest, so you do not have to email me and Carol saying, hello, how interested you are. That's great that you're interested, but you don't have to do that. If you mean trying to get involved in internships or research while applying, you can reach out, but obviously you'll have more of a conversation with the professor, and you can definitely have that conversation. And, you know, if you do come to GW, you can perhaps use that like connection that you're building already to kind of facilitate that internship or that research opportunity once you're on campus.
Is that our last one?
Yep.
That's what she meant. Oh, good. Perfect. Good.
Yeah. All right. We have 5 more minutes, so we have enough for probably one more question. And if not,
all right.
all right.
Okay, well, thank you guys both so much for all the information, and I hope looks like all the questions have been answered. So everybody have a good afternoon.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.